Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Dr. Alonzo Richard Fleming, Jr. And I'd like to share with you some of the concerns I have regarding the grave conditions of Black America today. I call the black male and female the prodigals because we have lost our way, we have left home, and we are steeped in ignorance, poverty, and death, much like the prodigal son story that Jesus told in the Bible. I want to talk to you about how we can release ourselves immediately from the situation and just how dangerous of a position we're in today. In 1968, President Lyndon Johnson assembled a commission in which he called the Kerner Commission. They studied the condition of blacks, or the prodigals, in America, and realized that there were two different nations within America. One white, which we will call the citizens, and one black, which we will call the prodigals. They said that in these two nations, that the citizens were wealthy, they were well educated, their health was getting better, and the prodigals' condition was ever worsening. And if something drastic was not done to help the prodigals, that by 1974, the prodigals would be relegated to a permanent underclass, being steeped in poverty, ignorance, and death, and all those things that come about as a result of being in an underclass. In spite of the recommendations of the Kerner report in 1968, President Johnson rejected the recommendations. 30 years later, a follow-up report was done to the Kerner Commission, which basically said the same thing. Yes, there are two nations further divided, one further poverty-stricken, the other one wealthy and gaining wealth as the years go by. 40 years later, in 2008, another follow-up report, which will be released on March 1st of 2008, which again reinforces the original report 40 years earlier, saying that there are two Americas. One is death, it's at death's door, and the other one is in the realm of progression. Blacks, or the prodigals as we call them, and as the report will state, are on a literal collision course with extinction, especially the black male. We are literally being exterminated as we speak, and that the dire conditions are more pronounced, as you can easily look around in your communities and see. We are better educated in the midst of all of this death. In the midst of the death, we have churches on every corner, and more multi-million-dollar churches are being built as we speak. We have politicians at every level of government, but we have no direction, and corruption permeate our community. Something is wrong, brothers and sisters. I submit to you that something is wrong with our thinking. And it starts at the deepest level of our spirituality. Something is wrong with our theology. Up until now, the conversation has been one-sided. It's been the preachers who've been dictating what we can and cannot talk about. They pontificate on their radio programs daily, and they silence the voice of the black male or the prodigal male who has his own thoughts and a direction that he would like to go, but his voice is silenced. From their pulpits, they bully us every Sunday, and their churches are filled with the female prodigals. Through the financing of the enemy of the prodigal black male, they have literally silenced any opposition to their useless marches, useless protests, useless prayers, useless supplications to the author of death itself. There's a story told in the Bible about a prophet who was in the same situation. His name was Elijah. And in his situation, much like today, the prophets of Baal, the false prophets of death, were everywhere. They had churches on every corner. They were stacked up on top of each other, all over the place. And they were the ones to whom the people were listening. And just like the churches today, there was a voice in the midst of that situation named Elijah who was saying totally different than what they were saying. And they got together and said, no, stop troubling us with your rhetoric. But Elijah said, I'm not the one troubling the people. I'm not the one they've been listening to. You're the one. Your theology, your doctrine, your way of thinking, your direction is the one the people have been listening to. And their condition is a reflection of what you've been saying. What we need today, brothers and sisters, just like Elijah did, is a showdown got to be initiated among us. We need to call these two minds together and ask each of them to put up in a public forum. And the one who answers by fire, let that one be the one that we follow. The preachers are everywhere. There are many of them. So surely there's enough of them to gang up and come up with some representatives of them. And let's bring these gods out in the midst of the people and see which one answers by fire, and that will be the one that we follow. And today I'm issuing that showdown. I put many of my thoughts in a book that I've entitled The Devil's Advocate, a spiritual man's case against God. I'm bringing a showdown to these preachers. If your God can reform the people, then come on, meet me in public and let's debate the issue where your finger is not on the bell. Brothers and sisters, they're like boxers who like to get you in the ring, but they want to keep their finger on the bell. So whenever you start pummeling them, they can ding, 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 start ringing the bell and stop the fight until they recover. That's what they do on their radio programs and in their churches every Sunday. They get to talk and nobody else get to talk. But let's bring them on out into the public arena and let's throw down. Bring that old God of yours that's on every corner in our communities. Come on out of there and let's show down. Bring him on out here. Dr. Fleming is waiting for you. Brothers and sisters, I've sent out emails to all these preachers across the country, to the Sharptons, to the Jessies, to all these civil rights people who run crisscross the country with their useless marching, and say, come on, let's put up or shut up. The prodigal male and female has to find his or her way back home, brothers and sisters. And you see clearly that the Christian churches that are represented by the preachers have done nothing but produced death and hell in our communities. Look around you in your community. They are everywhere. Liquor stores, churches, and dope houses. I say to you, brothers and sisters, as you go to your churches, tell your preacher about this showdown that's got to go down among us. Thank you for your time. Again, I greet you with the words of peace.